I'm going to be showing you how to use the Heroes of Hammerwatch level editor. So what you'll need to do first is you'll need to head to where your Steam is located, your Steam apps, go to Steam Library, and then your common Hammerwatch, and then it'll take you to this folder. So what you'll first need to do is you'll need to make a mods folder. So one like this, you'll just create new folder, type mods, and then open that up, and then you'll create a new folder, and you could just put test level or something along those lines. That's all that you really need to do at the start. So then what you'll want to do is go to the editor.exe, go ahead and open that up. So you'll get brought to this screen. So with the Hammerwatch editor, you have a couple options for a few things. This X right here is basically just showing the origin, the center of the level, technically, from the build out. On the right here, you have your layers. So this will be everything that you can really do and put into the level that you're creating will be all right here. So you'll have your tile maps, your doodads, which will be like the pre-made pixel art, and like so your walls, some actors, and various other things like books and small set pieces. Basically, anything that's not on the tile map will probably be in doodads. You have your world scripting, so anything that you need to be able to actually get the level to start programming and working, it uses a visual scripting style thing, somewhat like blueprints from Unreal Engine, or kind of like snap map coding from the Doom editor. Then you have your collisions, and then your actors, text, game mode, which we'll come back to in a second, generators. So these generators, some of them don't seem to respond all the time, but basically what you'll do is you'll click on one of them, so the archive generator, and you'll have all these options that you can fill out, and then your tile set, and then you select one that you want, which for this would be archived, and then you'd hit go, and it would generate a preloaded map for you. You got prefabs, which are basically going to be things that are already pre-generated to fully work. So things like archive sections, or if you need like signs, that'll tell you the general store is and stuff. Anything that is pre-generated with already some code typically attached to it is where you'll be using a prefab. It's just pre-made units. You have items, so your health, your mana, your gold, so on and so forth. Lighting units, your pen tool, and brush. Pen and brush I haven't really had to use so far. So first thing you want to do whenever you open up the Hammerwatch editor is you're going to want to go to game mode, and then you're going to pick one of these. It'll automatically start you out in main menu. What'll happen if you stay in the main menu mode is that every time that you go to launch your level, it'll just launch you straight into the main menu and you won't be able to move at all. So what you'll want to do is you're going to want to hit one of the main things. So say you're making a town, you'll want to hit the town game mode, and you'll hit yes, apply for that. Or you'll want to hit, static level or random level, depending on what you're building. Static means that it'll just be a level that stays the exact same every time. Random level will allow for you to like switch things up. Shortcut level is the shortcut levels directly from the game, so on and so forth. So for right now, we'll just put a town as our main thing. And you'll want to go to tile maps, and this will be where, again, a lot of like your grounding is for things. So if you type in on the search bar Outlook lowercase, and then we set our shape to be 3000, make a real big tile map, and then you have a standard start. Typically I switch it back to 200 or 20 after, and I'll put it in like rectangle or square, that way I can do finer detail stuff. So if I need snow suddenly, I can add that in. You'll set stuff with right click, remove stuff with left click, you'll set stuff with right click, remove stuff with right click. You'll notice that whenever you remove snow and stuff, it also removes the tile map underneath. If you want to quick select, you'll hold Alt and then hit left click on the tile that you want. So I just reselected the grass, and you're able to replace it down and fix it and make it look all pretty and such. And And same thing goes for snow and every other texture and tile that you'll need. So what you'll want to do to get your level to actually start working is you'll go back to your world scripting, and you need your player to spawn, so you'll type in start or level start, and then right click to play your level start. And that'll basically allow for your player to actually spawn and have a designation spawn. You can also put your team start down. I haven't messed too much with the online functions, so I'm not sure if you need the team start down to be able to play it as a actual online level, but for now we'll just put the level start. So all this will be fine. It's execute on startup is false because it's not constantly going to put you back there, because it'll automatically do that as your start. So there's your actual start position. You can go ahead and get rid of that. And then let's say we want to have, let's see, go to doodads, and we can pull up a fountain. So let's say you're trying to get a fountain to work in your city. We'll just get one of these rundown ones for now. What you'll want to do, let's see, is you'll place in your object, and then you'll go to collision, and this applies for just about a large portion of the things that you need to do is using these collision rectangles and circles. Oh, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our fountain. I'm going to actually grab a circle and then right click again to place, and then you'll see the radius is down here, and you'll drop that to say 50. That way it's not accessible from super far away. Let's actually make that 40, and then we'll put it like that. So then what you'll do is you'll have your trigger box. So this basically means that whenever a player is within this vicinity, they can access the trigger. So it doesn't have anything to do with this actual doodad itself, the fountain. That's just artwork. You'll go back to world scripting tab, and you'll type in use, and then you're going to look for trigger. So use trigger is what you need. So like I said, this is visual scripting. The only thing that really matters is your player starts and exits. So if I put this trigger script over here, it'll still trigger with that as long as they're connected. But I'll keep it right here for now. So you click on your use trigger as long as you're under world scripting, and then you'll hit areas, and you'll hit this 0 + 0 variable, and then on here you'll see this border turns blue, and it'll have an edit script property at the top, and so on. What you'll do is you'll left click onto that little mountain for your collision tab, and then you'll hit escape, and now you can see that there's an arrow connecting the two. And that just means that they will actually work and function, and whenever you go into this collision box, it'll reference this use trigger. So if we want this use trigger to actually activate something, say we want it to, I don't know, say we want it to send us back to the town of Outlook. You'll go to your level, and you'll hit level exit, and you'll put it right there. So then what you'll need to do is have that, click on your use trigger again, and you're going to hold Control Alt and then left click on the house, or your level exit, and that'll draw a connection. That means that the use trigger, whenever you go into the collision tab, it'll reference the use trigger, and then the use trigger sends the signal to this, your level exit. This will go for all other things. So if you have a sound effect play, then you'll go use trigger, and same thing towards the sound effect. And then if you use Control Alt and then right click, it'll send the level exit to the trigger, which obviously won't really do much for us. So to actually get this to work, you'll have your level exit, you'll click on it, and right down here you'll see it says levels/.level. So for us, the level reference that we need is town. And you'll hit enter, and that'll save it, and then you'll have that all in there. So say this is good, this is what we want for our whole setup. What you'll want to do is you go File, Save As, and then you'll go to your Heroes of Hammerwatch folder, Mods, and then find that test level folder, and inside you're going to make a new folder just titled Levels. go inside the folder and then name this level whatever you need to name it. So arc test. Arc test. It'll pop up twice. I'm not fully sure why, but just re-enter it whenever it pops up. So that actually fully saves your level. You'll go back to your file manager, go to your mods, and then you'll go test levels. So right here is your level itself, and what you'll need to have in order to get your level to actually work is something called an info.xml, so an XML file. So you'll need some sort of programming software to be able to access the language and actually read it and such. So I'm using just Sublime as an unregistered version, just it works to get everything that I need to get done. So here you see the other XMLs that I have for my other levels. So what you want to do is you'll just want to hit new file, and then all that you're doing is copying this right here. So on the Heroes of Hammerwatch forums, there's actually a info.xml file that'll it'll tell you exactly what you need to type out, and it'll have just template one. So for this, I will break down still what this basically all does. At the top part, this will be the name for your mod. So we'll just put arc test as the name for it. The author, it can be your name. Description is whatever the mod would be used for, so mod for test level. There we go. And then you'll have your second string, which is to actually access your levels. So you'll have whatever the name of the level is. So for us, we're just going to put arc test. And then you'll put whatever the description of this is, so a map for testing. And then this part right here is the most important part. It is what your file, or where your file is referencing to. So what you'll do is you'll go and have your levels, which is this folder right here where you put your actual level inside of, is what it's referencing. And then you'll find whatever your level name is. So for us, it's arc test. And you'll make it that dot level, and that's it. And then you can go ahead and hit save as, and what you're going to want to do is put this in the not core folder, so not the levels folder for this, but just outside of it, so just sitting in the test levels, and you'll title it info.xml. There you go. And there's your info.xml. This will allow for the game to actually register and read it, because the game needs a mod basis to be able to access the actual level. Otherwise, you won't be able to enter it at all. So once you have your info.xml, you need an info.xml for every level that you make, by the way. You'll be able to go back to your editor, and if you hit Control T, it'll go ahead and boot up the game, allowing you to play test the level. Eventually. Maybe. Alright. So, if this is your first time launching it, what you'll want to do after creating that info.xml is you'll want to hit the little profiles button, and then you'll hit create new profile. I already have one that's made for this. You can copy your original profile. That way you have characters already made and everything to be able to mess around with. And you just hit right here on these papers to clone the profile. So then you'll hit the change mods, that little gear icon, and then you'll select whatever file you want active. So when it's highlighted golden, that means that it's actually showing up and everything. And so you'll hit that, hit OK. And then now you have access to those mods and such. So you'll hit your single player, and you'll go ahead and head into your game. So immediately it'll spawn you into the normal town of Outlook. If you go over here, there should be this guy right here standing with a gear above his head. This is where you'll get the mod access. So if you hit your mod, the one that you've titled, so for us is ArcTest, you'll notice it's really dark, and that's because we haven't applied a lighting yet. But if we head over to our fountain and we hit F, take us right back here. And it used this as a reference for the Griffin as the transportation service. So if you want the level to be brighter, what you'll do is you go to your lighting and you'll hit this little ENV, so it stands for environment, and then you'll hit the drop down and you can go for the Outlook environment or Outlook inside or default, and it'll make it bright just like it's Outlook still. So we'll hit Outlook and it'll make it look all bright and such. And then if you want, you could throw in an actor, so throw in the Golem Rock Monster. But that's effectively the very basics of figuring out how to get a level entry and exit. And for the level entry, it's the same thing. You'll have your start and then your level exit that references to whatever your level is. And that's the very basics of the Hammerwatch editor. There's some small tools, like if you hold Control D, it'll copy an item. You can drag and click as well. Other than that, that's pretty much all the basics.